welcome. I'm Vannessa McCamley, a leadership and performance specialist, coach, keynote speaker, and author of the book Rewire for Success. Today, I'm joined by the wonderful Pia Broadley, a leader in the IT industry. She has engaged my services a number of times over the years. Today, we'll dive into her journey and the impact neuroscience-based strategies have made on her team, her events, and her professional growth. So welcome, Pia.
Thanks so much, Vannessa. It's lovely to talk to you about this.
Pia, you've had the pleasure to engage my services over the years. Can you share your experiences of these engagements?
Yeah, well, I've engaged you a few times across a few different requirements. I remember the first time I saw you, it was more than 10 years ago. Working at Express Data, you came in to talk to the leadership team about our leadership and how we can use neuroscience to perform better. And it really stuck with me. I love the way that you made me think about how I think, what I'm hearing, what I'm saying, and how my brain interprets it. And how that made a difference to everyone in the room in a different way. And so it really stuck with me, which is why I've engaged you for 3 different sessions along the way, 3 different services.
Great. And what was the next one that you used me for? Do you recall?
Yeah, well, we were doing a really big event, Dropbox Live in 2023, which was a big conference that we brought together industry experts, technologists, business leaders, just to explore the evolving landscape of work with a focus on the digital transformation, AI integration, and workplace innovation, really as a follow-on from COVID. Because business had changed, the way we do business changed, and we really wanted to showcase that within our conference. So we asked you to come along as a leadership and performance coach to highlight neuroscience-based strategies for us to combat that burnout that we were seeing a lot and improve the leadership and decision-making. At Dropbox Live, we had 200 customers coming in, partners and staff, and we wanted to talk about more than just the technology that we use to perform, but also what other tools we could use and what we needed to drive success in a more distributed workplace. So by introducing you to the lineup, we introduced the idea that using neuroscience, you can combat fatigue that we're all still feeling from that COVID and focus on improving performance and decision-making. It was especially important for the leaders in the room who carried that responsibility for a team's performance. It was a great event. It was very well received. We had the feedback from our attendees was that your session was one of the highest regarded as far as feedback is concerned. And you can always tell a really good session because of how quickly people ask questions and how appropriate their questions are during the session as well. So I loved what we did in that session. I loved that we really talked about thinking differently and how we could use that in a really meaningful way immediately within the business for both ourselves as staff, but then also for our customers most especially.
And because it's interactive, we're able to get interaction between your staff, your customers, and your partners. Like, it was a really beautiful ecosystem of where we were getting high connection and sharing insights, where it's different to where you're just sitting in a session, you're learning and learning and learning, but you're not talking. And where the value comes is where you can actually get inside what people are really thinking about and what's important to them.
Yeah, it was definitely world's best practice as far as Dropbox Live events goes. The feedback was amazing and it was really, really impactful. It was great.
Oh, that's amazing. And do you know what? It's one of the best events that I have spoken at. The vibe, I mean, you can't just manufacture that energy in a room, right? It just had everything. It was just very professionally done. And the engagement of people and the feedback afterwards was just amazing, which I just loved it. And I loved being part of it. So tell me, then you engaged me after that for your sales APAC team. Talk to us about that and what did that look like?
Oh, look, you were still halfway through talking at Dropbox Live when I decided I need to bring you into the team. I knew that bringing neuroscience of success into my sales team would help them and supercharge their performance and also help them to build resilience. So while I had a really strong sales team in APAC, already really strong, performing really well, outperforming expectations, exceeding targets, I knew that there's always change. There's change within sales, and there's also change within the IT industry constantly. So being robust and being able to navigate those changes were really important. So I wanted to set up the team for success, and I knew that this was a really great way to help them to navigate those changes and set them up to be really highly successful, so that they could, understand their habits and really understand their superpowers as well, so they could really capitalize on them.
And really look at the language as well, right? Of what language they're using for our self talk, but also how that translates into action and how we actually connect with others who are maybe similar to us or different to us.
Yeah, I think understanding how you think yourself and how other people think around you is really important, and understanding those differences is key. And it's one of the biggest takeaways I took from that session. I mean, my team really learnt actionable items immediately that they could take out. There was a few things in particular. So for my team, there were some really big learnings for them. Some key things were things like the triggers, what are threat triggers and reward triggers for them to look out for, to use internally within themselves, but also to use with their customers. So it's not just within that team dynamic, but for them to use every day in their sales roles. What I loved most about the session was the insights the team members found about themselves in both their mindset and the way they engage with their customers, partners, and colleagues moving forward. I also loved the social driver of behaviour session. It helped us individually, but it also helped us to understand how other team members work and how our customers work better too.
Then the next engagement was actually for you personally. Do you want to talk through what that looked and felt like for you?
Yeah, well, a little while later, I found myself going through a job transition where I was moving out of one business and into another, and I wanted to make sure that I made that move in a really structured way. I wanted to make sure I aligned my goals with what I was looking for, and to make sure it was a really meaningful move. So I do tend to immerse myself completely in my work. So that was a great opportunity for me to really have a meaningful reset and to supercharge my energy into the next role, to make sure I was really set up for it. I've had coaching multiple times throughout my career, and I do coaching for team members as well. And we all know there can be different types of coaching. And what I learned from this was that I need to learn from both my successes and my failures and how to grow as a leader. It's really important to me that a coach understands the requirements and outcomes that you want to achieve. And I felt like we did that really well. You helped me to really define what it was I was looking for, be clear on what mattered to me, what was my why, how to create a vision board to ensure that I understood it completely, and really understand what my next step was going to be and make sure it was a meaningful move.
So, coaching, we all need it. I have coaches in my own business, and it's really important because we have on average between 50 to 70,000 thoughts on average per day. And depending on how we're coding them, whether it's putting them in a threat or reward, is that they spiral and we can go over and over and over. When we actually speak to someone asks us insightful, open questions, it allows us to dig through our memories and not just do our short-term open the first drawer of your cabinet. Actually allows us to dig down into our data files to actually really take memories that really add value to us in looking for solutions or how we actually approach things. And like, for example, your value proposition, when we did your vision board, that was incredibly powerful, to the layers that we went through to really understand your purpose and your why. That's really changed the way that you have conversations. Did you want to elaborate on that?
I love the way you push me and ask me to question myself. And that really made a big difference to me, to understanding why I do what I do. What's at the heart of my goals?
Can you share a moment during our work together where something clicked for you, where you had a breakthrough, an aha moment, a mindset shift, or a lasting insight?
I absolutely can. There was a big aha moment for me and for my sales leaders during our coaching session. where we work through what are our internal motivators, what matters to us most. And we looked at, is it status, is it connection, is it security, autonomy, certainty or fairness, and all the answers were different for everyone. Even though we were a really tightly aligned, close-knit team who seemed to think very similarly, it really helped me to understand that they all had different drivers. And it really helped my sales leaders for them to be able to address the personal needs of their team while still driving the company results. It had a profound impact on me and my sales leaders, and how they can more effectively lead as individuals in their team.
Any other aha moments for you personally outside of the social drivers?
Yeah, for me personally, the big aha moment was to think about how I view myself as a leader, and to think about the language I have internally as myself as a leader. I do put a lot of pressure on myself, so really thinking about what I do and how I do it and the focus I put on my team's performance was a really good one for me.
And we often do that. We're often really quite hard on ourselves, but it's not necessarily how we're viewed by others. So it's great to step back and really think about, well, what is my value? What are my strengths? And how can I actually shine brighter? What does that look like, and what does it feel like? What tools, models, or techniques resonated the most for you and had the biggest ripple effect after the sessions?
There's a few things I've taken away that I use regularly on a regular basis, but some key ones that I saw straight away impacting my team were the reward and threat triggers. That was instantly usable by my team. They were able to really immediately just know within the team how to use that to help the team dynamic, but also as salespeople, how to use that and understand that with their customers. I talked about how the social insights were really important for them to be able to use with their customers as well. And personally, there was a few things that I really gained as well. Brain-friendly language is so important in my self-talk and how we engage with our work community, whether it be our peers, our staff, our leaders, our leadership, our team members, our customers, really understanding that brain-friendly language as you go into any engagement with anybody. That's been really powerful to me to use straight away. Another key thing for me personally is my vision board. So I was able to create a vision board that gave me clarity on what's important to me. What is my why? What is my asks? What am I looking for within this, great challenge that is the workplace? What am I looking for there? Where will I get my reward? How will I feel satisfied? What matters to me? That was really important. And being able to put that down into a vision board and really have clarity to it was really important.
And I think clarity is really important for people because we live in such a busy and dynamic world that often we're on the go all the time, and we don't actually get the chance to pause and really reflect to what are the values? What do I really care about? What is my why and purpose? And how can I shine brighter by actually stepping into that more?
I definitely used you for that session. You're great at helping me to be able to see that and sort of bring it out of me and be able to find what was already within me, but I hadn't been able to articulate. That was really valuable.
So, what has been the most meaningful results or changes you've seen personally or professionally as a result of our work together?
Working with my team, I saw instant impact with the way that they engaged internally and externally, and could see the impact of them now understanding the triggers and knowing how to navigate them, and seeing how to create new habits and new practices to set themselves up for success. I saw it really clearly in the following staff satisfaction survey, where the team referenced the learnings from this session as having great outcomes for them and having a big impact on their satisfaction within the workplace. So that was really meaningful to get that clear result from the efforts of the coaching sessions we did with them.
So it's really powerful when you get feedback from your staff to what really resonated for them. So tell me, Pia, what's it like having me as a coach and facilitator? What qualities or approach has helped you feel supported or challenged you in the right way?
I love the way you challenge my thinking, and you really help me with my self view, how to push myself You make me think differently. So the way that you talk about the neuroscience, how the brain works, how we think differently, what we listen to, how much we think about, how we prioritize our thinking, and how we take all of that together, and then how do we use that as a leader to ensure that our teams can be as successful as possible as well. So from a personal perspective, I get a lot out of the conversations that we have around performance and about the brain and how it works, and thinking about what does success look like and how do you help to foster success. That's been really valuable to me. And as a facilitator, I will ever think of you standing on that stage with the brain in your hand. I remember it from sessions I've seen with you. It's really memorable. It resonates with me. I can instantly remember the conversation about the neuroscience of success. How does it work, and how your brain works in that process. So they're probably the key things that I remember, and it sits so clearly in my brain.
So you've experienced neuroscience in action several times in different formats, in different ways. What would you say to others considering going on a similar journey for their team or for their event or for their leadership development?
So I think it's a really good opportunity, anybody who's wanting to develop themselves personally. For me, the ability to be able to grow and understand the neuroscience of success, what that means to me, how I can implement changes into my life to help grow and be successful as an individual, and also as a leader in the business to help my whole team grow, has been really valuable with the sessions that we've done as far as coaching is concerned, but also the team coaching, bringing the team together to learn together is really important. Also, as far as presenting is concerned, I loved your session at Dropbox Live. I thought that was a great presentation, and I really would encourage anyone who's looking to bring something different into the market and have a really meaningful conversation about what success looks like and how we find our way as the world constantly changes, then that's a really good way to introduce that topic.
Thanks, Pia. It's been a pleasure having you share your journey and your experiences with us. Thank you.
My pleasure.